can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Lukayenko. I'm a student at Memorial University in Newfoundland, Canada.
Awesome. So can you tell me about your research?
Sure. I'm quite excited about it, although to some people it might appear a bit boring, but not to me for sure.
Okay.
Basically, I study data structures or data systems, and specifically, I'm trying to create a system which will allow ordinary people to record all kinds of information. I'm using biology as a field of study where I'm testing how regular people like you and me, I'm not a biologist, can record observations of plants and animals. And I'm using a website which we created for Newfoundland called NL Nature to do that. And I should mention as well, this research is being supervised here at Memorial by Dr. Jeffrey Parsons. He is with the Faculty of Business, and Yolanda Wiersma, she is with the Department of Biology.
Okay.
Basically, just to give you an idea of what's going on, imagine you're seeing some animal in the forest. So you're not a biologist, you're seeing an animal in the forest. And you might not even have a chance to take a picture because the animal is gone by the time you get a camera out, or you might not even have a camera on you. So then, but you've seen enough of that animal, although you don't know exactly what it is. It might look like a dog to you, but it could be a number of things. It could be a wolf, a coyote, a fox, for example. And then you go home, you log into a website which, say, we created, nlnature.com, or other folks created. For example, there's a nice site in BC, eFlora BC, that allows to post that kinds of observations. And then you go there, and the first thing a website like that typically asks you is, what is it? And that's where you sort of hit the brick wall, because you are really not sure what it is, right? And but in order for you to proceed further and record anything, that's what you need to answer. Now, in some cases, you can say, I don't know what it is, and then get other people to, other members of a website to, suggest things. But say in a case that I just described, if you couldn't take a picture, they can't really help you.
Yeah.
So that's where, you can imagine, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we come in with our research here at MON. And we are trying to create a system. It doesn't have to be a website, although we're trying to do a website-based system, a web-based system. But a system that will allow you to record the information without necessarily having to tell a system what it is.
Okay.
And then a system will be able to sort of guide you. So you can say that I've seen an animal or something. Well, an animal in itself is already telling what it is, but maybe you don't even know what it is. You've seen something, and then you will describe it in terms of the objective features that you've observed. So, for example, in the case that we're talking about, imagine it was gray, it had pointy ears, maybe fluffy tail, and it was a dog-like. That's all you would record. After that, the system will go and look at the features that you've just provided, and it will attempt to match it with similar features reported by other people.
Okay.
And then maybe other people submitted additional information. So, for example, maybe every time somebody said it had pointy ears, it was dog-like, and it had fluffy tail. In addition, they also said that it had a thick fur coat. So other people said. So the system will go back to me, and it'll ask, did it have a fur coat? And maybe you could say yes or no. So in other words, it becomes interactive, and it's sort of probing people for additional information that they might not be aware of. Yeah. And after that, the system that I'm trying to create will take that information, and either it will store it as is, if it can't really say for sure what I observed, or it might assign some probabilities, like it might say, it seems like it was either a wolf or a fox or a coyote. And then afterwards, or maybe it'll say definitely, it seems that based on what you described, it's definitely a wolf. So that's what we're interested in developing, and the applications of this kind of technology goes far beyond biology. What I'm just describing to you is all about biology, and that's what we mostly deal with. But you can imagine medicine. Uh, you know, for in this case, a person going to a forest is observing something, but you could also observe um, symptoms of your own, abnormal condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're not medically trained. You're not an expert in medicine, so you would not necessarily know exactly what kind of disease or infection you would have, right?
Right.
If you're able to explain it to an information system in terms of what objective,
Yeah.
symptoms, in other words, features, then the system can then take it and compare it with similar kind of features, much the same way as the example I gave you.
Right.
So, pointy ears, instead of pointy ears, it would be I feel I have a fever, or,
Right.
my eyes are hurting, or that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it will be able to match it with existing data, and it would either be able to help you if it's a one-to-one online, to-person system, or it might be able to assist a doctor in diagnosing something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So that's another good potential application for something like that.
Right.
In either case, basically what we are after is a different kind of data structure. So what we need in order for these scenarios to occur is a data structure which doesn't allow us to record information in a certain way. So now that becomes a bit techy on the information side or on the programming side.
Mm-hmm.
But in essence, the challenge for us is to develop a computer system which we feel has already been described by my supervisor. So there is existing research by Dr. Parsons, but we want to be able to apply it to scenarios like biology or scenarios like medicine and other kinds of scenarios in order to be able to say that this is superior compared to traditional ways, which is, you go to a website and the website says, what is it?
Right, right.
We often don't know exactly what it is. And also also to put the last sort of cherry on the cake here, you can imagine that any citizen scientist or a person, they're quite knowledgeable in a certain area. For example, you know your own body well. You might know your own body even better than a doctor does, right?
Right.
So by allowing you to basically communicate this information without losing much of it due to the way the questions are asked and the way the data is stored, will allow you to harness the knowledge which is inherent in you, right? Because you are not the scientist, but it is you that has observed a unique species somewhere, right? And it is you that know that your eyes are hurting. Your doctor might not be able to know that, or you might be able to communicate that information and notice it a lot faster than the doctor would, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So you could see that the potential for this is, quite great.
Yeah.